Real Country 98.5 FM. It's that dang old show. Ryan Hyatt back with you in the studios. You guys on the Domino's Pizza Hotline, where we're going to be talking to Mark Roman in just a little bit. Recap from Barrett Jackson. And talking about the 43rd annual Barrett Jackson Scottsdale Collector Car Auction. 1,400 cars out there. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. It's just nuts. It's crazy. Over $100 million in sales here. They've got a 12,000-seat arena there. It's called Westworld. It's their facility. It's just nuts. Week long, the attendance was up as well. That's a good sign, by the way, for the economy, that it was up. You've got a 67 Corvette going with one of only 20 made for $3.85 million. Rick Hendrick did what Rick Hendrick does, by the way. He always tries to get like the first Z28 Camaro off the production line. He bid $687,000. Or what it would cost to make Junior competitive in one race, perhaps maybe this year. We've got Mark Roman on. I believe, are you in Albuquerque today? Is that where you're based out of, Mark?
Based out of Albuquerque, but kind of making my way back home. I'm actually out of Flagstaff right now, so I'm glad to check in.
Well, cool, and I want to thank Tony for helping set this up, man. You were... I had two things going on this weekend. I do college basketball. I found myself in Stillwater, Oklahoma, Friday night. I'm about an hour or so away from Chili Bowl Nationals and made no provisions to go. So I'm kicking myself for that. And then, of course, timing usually for Scottsdale doesn't work out for me. What an event that's got to be. When did you go to your first auction there?
Oh, my gosh. Truthfully, the first auction I ever went to, I've been doing this for just a little while. Started back in the late 80s when I actually lived doing radio in Phoenix, where we started to go to the Barrett Jackson. And actually, this is our fourth year in a row with a website called CarKix. Got to plug that,
yes.
KARKIX.com. That we've been back covering all 6 events that go on for the week, not just one, but 6.
And this thing, they said attendance was up. I got to see bits and pieces with my travel schedule from what they were showing this year. And I'm kind of glad the speed went away, because I would have been addicted like I normally am and watching hour after hour after hour and getting a little punch drunk. But for you, what was the coolest moment of this year's Scottsdale auction?
Oh, there was a number of different moments. I got to tell you, I spent a lot of time over at the Gooding auction, and it's so hard to really pin a moment down, because when you think of Barrett Jackson, and they realized over $100 million in sales, but they pushed through 1,400 cars.
Yeah.
You go over to Gooding, and they do nearly $50 million, and they do it with 118 cars. So you're seeing cars at Gooding and RM that go for upwards of $5, $6, $7, $8 million, and they're breaking records. It's a really strong year, and I saw just some beautiful Ferraris go on the block, but at the same time, I saw them raise great money over at Barrett Jackson for charity when somebody actually bought the first Copo, the 2014 Camaro drag race car, went for behalf of $700,000. So it's a win-win for everybody, just a lot of fun.
What now, for you on some of the older cars, is there an era, is there a time period that you're drawn to, particularly with a make and model?
Well, I tell you what it is. It's the best of both worlds. My buddy Bob Lang, he gravitates toward the muscle and the Shelby cars, whereas I'm more post-war European. I'm getting into the Ferraris and the Launches that you see from like 53, 54 up to 60. Any of the Europeans.
Your original Grand Touring Le Mans style cars of the post-war era.
Yeah, we find a little bit of everything out there, and that's the great thing about it, is there's something for everybody, and it's not just one day like a Super Bowl, but it just goes on for the entire week.
What is the access like for the average person to go through there in the staging areas, in the areas where they set these up and get these prepped? Because that, to me, seems like it would be just a heck of a good time, as opposed to even being in the arena, if you could get decent access.
Well, and that's the great thing about going. Let's say you go to Barrett, you pay your admission to get in, and you've got access to just about every place you possibly can. All the cars that are out on the lot, they're in the tents and everything. Then you can get as close to stage as possible, and you didn't hear this from me, but if you're really brave, you can kind of fit into the crowd and sneak up on stage and wave to your friends on Speed TV or Fox.
A clipboard and a confident wave will get you almost anywhere you need to go.
Well, it's just, fitting in with the crowd. I mean, the other year, Leno's pulling up on stage with a tractor, and I'm in front row, and what do? I hand a card to him.
We're visiting with Mark Roman right now, recapping Scottsdale. Just an incredible week for car enthusiasts. Have you ever got involved in any bidding? Have you ever had the opportunity to do that, either individually or maybe with a consortium of folks?
Well, not bidding, but I did something on the other side of it, and that was selling for the first time last year.
Yeah.
We wanted to do a story on what it would take to put a vehicle into an auction and videotape the whole process and just, cover the whole week of it. And we found a Porsche Boxster S up in Santa Fe that we actually took to auction, and we put it in at Russo and Steel, and that's an education and a half, but it was a blast.
What now? Okay, and how long did it take start to finish before you rolled it out there across the stage? We'll start with that. Just how long did it take to get that thing ready? What's involved?
Well, I tell you, it's the fastest 2.5 to 3 minutes of your life when it's on the stage. But before that, I think it's a matter of really trying to find a vehicle that's going to fit the auction is the first thing. And let's say you take a Mustang up and you put it at Barrett-Jackson. Well, great, you got a beautiful car, but so does 200 other people that have Mustangs up there. So is your car going to stand out? You really want to take something and you want to fit it into the proper auction. And that's what we did with the Boxster. There was nobody up there in Scottsdale last year with one, and we broke records with it.
Man, that would be just such a kick to be standing there and watching people look at the hard work and get the payoff on that end. Did you get a chance to visit and meet with the people who ended up buying it?
Actually, they keep that a little bit separate, but what's interesting about going to Scottsdale is there is a lot of Canadian money that actually comes down for the entire week.
That spends just the same.
80 to 90% of the people I spoke to are from Canada, and it actually ended up going to Alberta. So, just real interesting the way that it happened. But you've got to just prep the car. We spent probably 5 or 6 months really trying to court some of the auctions as to which one would be the best place to put it in.
Yeah, you're going to have to make your way out here to West Texas sometime so we can shake hands and visit and talk cars even more, Mark. I think, and we'll get Tony to take us out to lunch since he keeps stealing all of our gift certificate giveaways, and he can be able to take us out to lunch.
Hey, I got to give a shout-out to a gentleman, actually, that is from Lubbock that I met up there. Chance Britt, who owns Britt Trucking, was up there looking at all the cars as well. So people from Lubbock, come on out. We'd love to have you out there.
You got it. And let's tell us about the website again.
It is KARKIX.com. It's just, a labor of love. Just a couple of buddies that have teamed up, and we try to cover some of the events. We'll be throwing up a lot of photos. I must have snapped 800 to 1,000 photos while I was up there this time. So it'll make its way onto the site within the next few days that way, and just for everybody to enjoy. But if you love anything to do with automotive, you've got to, really put it on your list. It's your bucket list to get to Scottsdale.
Yeah. You going to be able to carve out any time to watch a little Rolex 24 from Daytona this weekend? Know if you're into that or not.
I really want to watch some of that. I think my dream is to get to Le Mans and watch 24 hours in person.
Yeah. You and Patrick Dempsey, who knew?
Oh, tell me about it. But the guy's done some phenomenal things. But Le Mans, I mean, when you hear some of the stories of Phil Hill and Fangio and also Sterling Moss, I mean, it's just, it's a real storied history.
Yeah, I mean, it is not just, I think, for sports cars. It still is the holy grail of, I believe, motorsports. It might get some arguments up there at Indianapolis, might get some arguments down in Daytona, but still, it is the place where, if you look historically, where has everyone fought to go to at least one time as a driver owner? They've fought to go there.
I think that's it.
All right, man, Mark, it's great to visit with you again. Got to get you out here sometime, or next time I'm out in your neck of the woods, somewhere in between, maybe we'll run into you on down the road. And thanks for a very cool report. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
He is Mark Roman, and we will have him back again. And we will finish up hour number 1, that dang old show, after this here on Real Country 98.5 FM.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning.
1-877-741-1420. We thank Mark Roman joining us there, recapping Barrett-Jackson and Scottsdale. Also, Josh Abbott Band. We'll have that podcast, in case you missed it, for you on thatdangoldeshow.com later on this evening. You can find a lot of the interviews and everything else we do on the program right there. And follow us on Twitter, at Ryan Hyatt Media for me, at Dang Old Show for the show.